Welcome back to Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones. Last time, we pretty much took out the bandits at their source, defeating their leader Basma, and getting back Erika's plot-important bracelet, even though Seth will not tell her why it's so important. We also gained Colm and Nimai. This time, we'll be heading out to confront some ancient horrors. Yeah, that's pretty clear foreshadowing of what we're going to be up against now. At this point, though, I want to go into manage items, because we got a lot of items out of the chest in the last chapter. So let's see, the Javelin usually goes to either Seth or Franz. I'm going to put that on Franz for now. Let's see, I'm going to just put that Antitoxin in the convoy, because I don't need it at this point. We will be needing it eventually, just not now. As for everyone else, Iron Lance. Gilliam already has one. Franz's has barely even been used, but I guess he can take this one. I could give it to Seth to give him marginally less chance of killing things, but he's probably still going to slaughter them anyway. And there was a hand axe too, wasn't there? Yeah, there was a hand axe. Might as well give that to Ross, even though the hatchet is far superior. And let's see. I'm pretty sure that's everything. Let me just see what else is in the convoy. Yeah, nothing except those two items that we don't need, so that should do us. So, let's get going to Zaha Woods. Well, not quite so never before seen if you've played Echoes lately. Time to confront these ancient horrors. I do like this background here. It's pretty well drawn. The moment you say that, you know you're gonna have a mishap. And there it comes. But that's something that this group hasn't seen before. Thankfully, we have a couple of people who are a little more knowledgeable in this kind of thing. And we're introduced to this character, one of my favorites in the game. We've already got a pretty good idea of what kind of personality she has. That when she says a prodigy, she actually means it. And, pretty obvious gameplay tip here. Magic obviously ignores the defense stat. Although mages tend to be fairly squishy, I'm not too sure if she could defend the village single-handedly. He certainly has a better name in this version, because in Japan, he was called Asaray. I'm not making that up, that was actually his Japanese name. Probably, in my opinion, one of the best localization name changes in all of Fire Emblem. Anytime in an RPG something is dismissed as just legends and fairy tales, it's not. Yeah, they're probably everywhere at this point. So, after we've just dealt with our bandit problem, we now have a zombie problem. So let's see how this guy fights. Not only a scripted brave attack, but a scripted critical. Nice one. So he's a light magic user. That's going to prove handy, seeing as these monsters like to use dark magic. And now, for the first time, we get the battle preparation screen. Here we can pick which units are going into battle, manage items, which we've already done on the world map anyway, view the map, which we can either go to view map normally and just look over the thing, or formation, where we can also swap around the positions of our characters. I'll be dealing with that later. But first there's the support menu, which comes with kind of an interesting holdover music from, I don't think this is exactly the same as the song from Blazing Sword, but it's similar. So anyway, here we see we've completed 1% of all the supports, and as you can see, Colum and Nimai already have a C. Colum can also support Mulder, plus 3 silhouetted characters that we don't know about yet. So, this is a hint as to who you'll be able to support with later on. But notice that remaining times 4 here. This is a unique feature of the GBA games. Characters can only have a maximum of 5 support conversations total per playthrough. So, if I got to an A with Nimai, I would only be able to get Colum to a B with Mulder at most, or 2 Cs. So, you do have to plan out your supports. As you can see here, Erica's got a lot of characters that we haven't even met yet. So this is a good indication of who we'll be meeting later on in the story. We can tell we'll be getting a Wyvern Rider later. And several characters with unique sprites here. That's all I want to show there. Artur is actually already on our team, but he is forced to deploy in this chapter. So for everyone else, we have to leave behind 2 people. So, let's see who we get rid of. Honestly, I'm fine with this setup. Do not forget Vanessa in this chapter. Vanessa is actually pretty much necessary here. Everyone else, I think, is definitely going to help here. Nimai and Colum, they're not really going to be the most use here. Of course, if you're training Nimai, you want to use her in this chapter, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and rearrange my formation though, although I do like Vanessa being there. She wants to start as far down as possible because her task is to reach that village. Everyone else though, I like to have Gilliam a bit behind. Let's just say that we are going to be facing some enemies coming from the rear, so leaving some characters behind is definitely a good thing. I mean, like in the back lines. So what kind of enemies have we got? We have these Revenants. As you'd expect, they have pretty terrible stats overall. They also only have 4 movement. They also attack with Rotten Claws. The game doesn't actually tell you their might. You have to calculate it based on their strength stat and then their actual attack stat here. But as you can see, 3 strength, 10 attack. That means Rotten Claws have 7 might. We also have Moguls, which are nowhere near as irritating as they are in Echoes and Gaiden. They attack with dark magic in this game, and they thankfully can't divide. They can fly though, and they have pretty decent movements. We also have Bone Walkers. Unlike in Gaiden, Bone Walkers attack with regular human weapons. Well, actually, they can use them back there, but they don't have bone swords here. They just use a variety of different human weapons. They can use both swords and lances, but later on we'll be seeing Archer Bone Walkers. And as for the boss, we've got an Entombed. Entombed, just like in any other game in the series they appear, give a lot of experience, even more when they're bosses. For some reason, this Entombed has an affinity, and obviously it's dark. Anyway, this Fetid Claw is actually quite strong. You'll need to watch out for that. But let's start the battle now. We can also save from the preparation screen. And we can probably tell that there is a companion if he is down in that village. So this is our first character that we'll recruit from a village. But first, let's talk about Artur. A very forthright and pious man. Artur is a monk. A class introduced in Blazing Sword that is only in that game and Sacred Stones. As Priest is one half of Bishop, Monk is the other half. They're offensive light magic users. As I've said before, I don't find light magic to be that amazing in the GBA games. Its power to weight ratio isn't the best. But the 2 people who have the Monk class in the GBA games just happen to be good enough on their own merits to make up for that. Artur has a good balance of magic, skill, speed, and resistance. While his speed growth isn't amazing, it's still alright and his base speed is pretty decent. He's a bit of a glass cannon towards physical attacks, but then again, what magic user isn't? Well, apart from Mulder, I guess. He also joins at a very good time. The Moguls we'll be fighting in this chapter use dark magic, which Light has weapon triangle advantage against. And the Revenants have such low resistance that magic pretty much blows through them. He can gain a lot of levels in this chapter if you're really making an effort to use him. And as we'll be seeing more monsters and more dark magic later in the game, he only gets better. Sure, Light may have weapon triangle disadvantage against anima magic, but Artur has so much resistance that he really doesn't care. Artur actually got quite a few nerfs in the English version. He lost 1 point to his base magic and speed, and also got his magic and resistance growths nerfed quite a lot, losing 10 to his magic growth and 5 to his resistance growth, putting them at 50 and 55, rather than both 60 as they were in the original. Despite this, he's still pretty good. Despite being a different class, Artur has the exact same promotion options as Molder the Boulder. In other words, his options are... or Slayer! As much as I do like the idea of him as a sage, it's just really hard to justify giving up Slayer. It's just that good in this game. And in this chapter, you're probably starting to see why. This chapter is entirely monsters. It will not be the last one like this. So you can probably imagine how good Slayer is in chapters like this. Every single enemy on the map is weak to you. Though Slayer alone is reason enough to promote to Bishop, it also offers Artur a few other distinct advantages over Sage. The first is a much higher resistance cap. I didn't bring this up for Molder because it wasn't really relevant to him. Molder was never going to come close to that cap anyway. Artur, on the other hand, has the potential to exceed the Sage's resistance cap, and for that, Bishop kind of fits his role better. The other bonus is that Bishop starts out with a C rank in Staves right off the bat. This is very nice. Most other offensive magic users, when they promote and gain staves, it's generally a bit of an afterthought. You might give them a heal staff just in case you need a backup healer sometimes, but they'll never be a particularly great staff user. Artur though, starting with a C, he actually becomes a pretty great healer right after promotion. And that rank also gives him access to the Barrier Staff, which is mainly useful for being easily spammable for experience rather than its actual effect, which lets Artur level up quite a lot. And in only one staff rank up, he'll be able to use Physic. Yeah, Sage does give us C in Anima right off the bat, but I really feel like, I said it before on Molder's bio, anyone who has the option of going Bishop in this game should. And for Artur, it's especially true because there are a few benefits that Bishop has that really fit his role. Both classes also have the same constitution bonus, so really there's no reason why I wouldn't go Bishop here. So yes, we have Artur, a light magic user, which has weapon triangle advantage against dark magic, which these moguls are using. So that'll help. Artur can't quite one round KO that guy though, so we'll need to be careful. Though if he goes into this forest, let's see, so you do 7 damage. These two have 10 attack against his 6 resistance, so 4 damage each. But they're going to lose, I forget exactly how much might they lose from weapon triangle disadvantage, it's either 1 or 2. So 4, 4, 8, and then 7. That is not going to be enough to kill him, even with the weapon triangle calculated into it. So if I put him on this forest here, he actually should do a decent job of handling these things. Provided I don't have him attack right now. I like to reduce the Mogul's HP as much as I can, because they can be pretty devastating. As most of us at this point in the game have pretty bad resistance. Can't quite reach that village yet, though. Well, I could with Vanessa, but that's not what I'm going to do. Actually, oh, okay, yeah, Franz can't because of this stupid forest here. So, speaking of Vanessa, I'm going to have her fly down here in preparation for... She's fine if she only gets attacked by 1 enemy. So I'm going to have her fly down here in preparation for visiting this village. Also going to have her weaken that guy because, yeah, he can't reach her in that square anyway. This is a little iffy even with weapon triangle advantage, but it hits, that's okay. This snag is kind of like a wall. You can attack it, and if it falls down, it forms a bridge. Snags are also important in a certain glitch in this game, but we'll be talking about that in bonus episodes at the very end of the game. Okay, you don't quite one-round that guy without the rapier. That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's still kind of a problem. Except Franz has a newly found javelin. So that could help. And when you're doubling an enemy with a javelin, you know its speed is terrible. Gotta be careful of these guys, though. Can they... Okay, good. They can't reach Erica from over there. That Bone Walker might be a problem in the future, though. So yes, get used to this very, very slow shambling animation on these zombies. I generally don't like turning off battle animations in Fire Emblem games. I just find the battle animations have so much personality to them that I just really love seeing them. So, yeah, get used to seeing the shambling. I'll actually be making one exception to the battle animation rule, though, which will be later on. There's a certain someone that I'll show their animation once, and then I won't show it again, because it's very, very long, and we'll be seeing it a lot. You're on a mountain, which normal units can traverse, unlike peaks, but it's not quite as defensive as the peak terrain, though it does give a lot of evasion, as you can see here. I don't count on my chances of hitting this guy. Well, one of them hit, that's fine. Revenants are extremely slow. You'll generally double attack them almost all the time. Unless you're Gilliam. I mean, even Gilliam can double them sometimes. Now, let's see. Don't want Ross to be in range of either of these two. And I don't want Ross to be in range of the Sword Bone Walker. But if Ross is in range of that guy, it's not the end of the world. I'm saying not the end of the world a lot in this playthrough so far. And I guess Seth can... Actually, I like keeping Ross back here. I probably should have done that. Mola can just go there. There's no button to lock in all enemy attack ranges in this game, so you need to remember the enemy's ranges yourself. But you've got off your mountain to safe hold. I don't even know if that's a real word, but, oh well, you're dead anyway. Seven damage on that forest. This is yeah, I thought that'd hit. Yeah, even if both of them did 4 damage, it's probably going to be fine. Just weaken that guy, and hopefully Artur will weaken these moguls. The way Sword Bone Walkers attack, I just always found it kind of amusing how they basically just walk up and they just scratch you with their daggers. Yeah, only 3 damage, so you must be losing 1 might from Weapon Triangle. And you have terrible hit rate anyway, because, once again, Weapon Triangle. Of course, Artur won't kill you without doubling, without criticalling, I mean, because magic-using enemies tend to have pretty decent resistance, but hopefully I'll be able to eliminate these guys next turn. A single Mogul's usually not that big of a threat, though. It's when they come at you in groups and hit you on your pretty bad resistance that it can be a problem. Light magic is not the best magic type in this game, but against dark-using enemies, it's pretty decent. And Artur needs to get away right now. Definitely right now. Because some lance-using Bone Walkers have showed up. Actually, probably a good thing that I have Ross over here. And 4 more Revenants from over here, but, I mean, they're Revenants. I would say they're not really a threat. I mean, look at that. 0 speed, 0 defense. But you don't want to underestimate Revenants. Individually, they're pathetic, but in groups, their damage will add up, so you do need to be careful there. You are not doubling someone with 0 speed. That is very, very unfortunate. No, I think one of these guys has a stronger claw. Yes, one of them does have a fetid claw. And if I wanted, I could steal that vulnerary with Colum, but it's just a vulnerary. They're pretty easy to get. Gilliam can probably handle all these guys by himself, actually. Alright, let's see. I can't quite take that guy out. I do kind of want to be on the forest terrain if possible. I generally don't like using Garcia in battle all that much. I just prefer Ross. He's still decent if you want to use him, but just going to take out a couple of Revenants with him here. And let's see. These Moguls. How much do they do to Ross? 9. Yeah, they 2-shot him. We don't want to lure the Revenants over the bridge before we're ready. Or that guy. But if Artur stays here, he will suffer painful death by Bone Walker. So... I would rather take out the... yeah, but Artur is in range if I attack that mogul there. However, I could come to the rescue with Franz. Okay, yes, right, I have a plan here. Wow, you double those guys even with the javelin. Let me just check something. So they only have 4 con and they're 6 weight weapon. Obviously, you're doubling them. These guys, oh, they only have 3 speed. I don't think Franz is going to get doubled even with a javelin. Wait, 11. So, yeah, that's going to lower your speed by 2 Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't want to speak too soon. I just want to make sure that these guys are dead. Javelin right in the eye. And the other one will hopefully be getting an axe in his eye. That's pretty nice, though. I could use more of that. Actually, that guy will not be getting an axe in his eye because I can't get to him. Okay. Here's an idea. Yeah, Artur takes 12 damage from them. Only one of them can reach him, though. Okay, new plan. New plan is, Artur takes that guy out, Mulder heals him, Ross chops that guy to pieces, so as to make sure that Artur doesn't get attacked there, and like I said, Mulder heals him. This should be okay. Okay. Actually, let me just check something. Yeah, 2 defense. No, they're not going to go for Ross. Just making sure. Okay, then. Let's get rid of you. Sometimes I have Ross at level 10 before this chapter even starts, but... Or at least I get him to level 10 during this chapter, but I like to have him at level 10 right before the next one. And it's generally pretty easy to get him there. Just 2 more levels. Okay, so you heal. Definitely heal you, otherwise this whole plan is pointless because Artur would die. And yeah, that 1 experience that he got from getting attacked was just enough to level him up from this. Actually, that was pretty great. I'm still probably not going to use him, though. Yeah, there are just other healers in this game that I like better. Okay, then. Let's just make sure Erica doesn't get ripped apart by zombies. And... I'm going to go for the high hit rate because I'm that paranoid. Not quite enough to level up, though. And let's see. I can probably just continue wailing on this guy with the javelin for a bit. Yeah, I knew that'd miss. I knew that the moment that I said that it would miss. Because once I visit that village, a certain someone is going to enter the fray, and I would like this guy to be as weakened as possible before she does. Oh, and Seth can visit the village. So yeah, I talked about the snag before. That's your way for getting to that village if you're not Vanessa. But Vanessa can fly, so she doesn't need to. Thankfully, he gave us an iron axe for the job, not a devil axe. There have been many, many, many hilarious videos of characters killing themselves with devil axes against a tree or a wall. Which I will admit can be pretty amusing. What's also amusing is how terrible these Revenants are. We might actually see a Garcia level up here. I want you to go for... that's fine. Yeah. I'd rather see a Gilliam level up, but Garcia's okay too. Nope, and... Thank you for hitting the second time. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Garcia's speed at base is decent, but his growth is terrible, so it's not going to gain very much. And only 3 damage. His monsters are getting awfully... Wow! Very awfully dodgy this turn. That's fine, though. It's not a big deal. This, however, is a big deal. Thankfully, it missed. And you're probably going to double, aren't you? Yes, thank you. As I said, light magic isn't really the best in this game until you promote to Bishop. And we're about to see some awesome characters. Unfortunately, they're still NPCs. This is basically the large ham band and Rennick. Rennick is that one apathetic guy who's just couldn't really care less, and is surrounded by giant hams. We'll be seeing them again later, and they're amazing. Mainly one of them. Okay, let's see what we do here. Okay, that does kill you. I'm going to go for that, I guess. There are more Revenants coming over the bridge. And these Bone Walkers are pretty weak. Thankfully, they're nowhere near as durable as they are in Echoes, which for some weird reason, they just... they had a lot of defense in that game, or at least just a surprising amount of defense for their... even Revenants did there. Okay, you. Gotta be careful of you, but that's fine. Yeah, Ross's low defense means that he does take quite a bit of damage from Revenants if you let him. So, we have to be careful how many of them attack him. And you don't quite kill that one. So... I'm going to leave Ross where he is, so he only gets attacked by one Revenant. Well, that's his, ranged axe critical animation. You know, I should probably, if I given him, no, I haven't even given him an Iron Axe. You don't get to see Ross's melee axe critical animation, not critical, melee axe animation in general very often, because he almost always uses the hatchet, but, I might just give him an Iron Axe just to maybe show what that looks like, or I could do that in the second playthrough, because, let's just say that there's a bonus feature in this game that lets you see Ross's training animations a lot more often. What do I do here? Do I continue chipping that guy? I'm gonna go for one more, just in case. Okay, that's fine. Next turn, I'll visit that village. And Erica desperately needs healing. But I don't think anyone else at this point desperately needs any healing, so... This is going to seem a bit crazy, but I'm going to move Erica all the way up here next to Ross, and of course make sure to heal her, because Revenant Claws are not a weapon type, which means that Erica can't rely on her good dodge rate here, because she doesn't have a weapon triangle to back her up. This should be fine. I should have equipped the Iron Sword, though, because this is going to waste a perfectly good rapier. Okay, that guy's just going to go for Franz, and I'll have you waiting in the rear, and then Gilliam's just going to attack the guy out of the woods. This is the one with the Fetid Claw, though. I should probably focus on him, because the Fetid Claws can be surprisingly strong. You don't want to underestimate them. Why you always want to check the enemy's inventory before you fight them. Just in... Hey! Like father, like son! 2 low % criticals in the same battle. The fighter's melee axe critical animation is kind of weird, though. Yeah, of course you'd attack Erica. And she dodged anyway. She's got a pretty good crit rate, but she did not crit there. But it was enough to level up. Which means that's actually a pretty good outcome, because now I can save the kill experience for someone else. She didn't gain strength that time, but she did gain defense, which is pretty rare. And that guy's swinging around and attacking Gilliam for some reason. But no more reinforcements from behind Revenants, which is good. Reinforcements that spawn behind your group are always annoying. Now, come on, gain 1 speed so you can actually double these guys. Not quite, but defense is good too. Even though I'm not really going to be using him. Although I might grind him off camera. There's a chance that I might have a B team that I use to show off some bonus material. I might grind them up to match the level of my main team off camera. That'll be for later, though. Okay, now I think we've put this off long enough. Let's visit this village. And it's recruitment time. This is also amazing. It seems that you aren't a zombie. Oh, I love Lute, she's amazing. So, here is Lute. She believes she is a prodigy, and she's pretty much right. You may or may not remember Lilina back from FE6. She had a colossal magic stat and hit like a truck, but was let down a bit by having unreliable speed and terrible skill. Lute is essentially Lilina with neither of those issues. She is this game's glass cannon, pretty much. Her magic is absolutely ridiculous. It won't be that apparent now, but as she grows, she'll be hitting so hard, nothing will be able to stand up against her. Even mages in this game, their resistance stats aren't all that high, so she pretty much annihilates everything she gets her hands on. She backs this up with actually a pretty decent speed stat, meaning that she can double more often than not. And when you're hitting this hard, doubling is a very big deal. Her skill is kind of not that amazing, but it's generally enough for her needs. Later in the game though, she may have a few accuracy issues, though her decent luck goes some way to making up for that. Lute only really has one weakness. Unfortunately, it's a really big one. Her constitution is awful. She'll be weighed down by anything above a basic fire. Oh wait, even basic fire tomes weigh her down before promotion. Yeah, her constitution is so bad, she can't attack at all without a speed penalty. She's usually stuck with fire tomes for a vast majority of the game, but her magic is so absurd, that's really all she needs. This does sum up one of the biggest reasons why I'm not a big fan of the GBA con system though. Namely, it's very biased against females. Artur earlier, his constitution was quite a bit higher. I mean, he was no Molder the Boulder, but he was still impressive for a magic user. And then you have Lute, who has 3. Once I get the body ring later in the game, it usually goes on Lute ASAP. Lute got a couple of nerfs in the English version. She lost 1 point of base resistance, and she also lost 5 to her magic and resistance growths. Yes, originally Lute's magic growth was even more insane, but it's still more than enough to max it out, so really this nerf barely impacted her at all. I forgot to mention this until now, but all magic classes promote with a guiding ring, and I do mean all magic classes, healers and attackers. Fortunately, there's a lot of them in this game. Anyway, Lute's 2 promotion options are Sage and Mage Knight. Don't be confused though if you played FE4. Mage Knight in this game is not a hybrid class, it's basically just a mage on a horse. In fact, it's pretty much literally Valkyrie from FE7. Valkyrie still exists in this game, but it's changed a little bit. The choice of promotion here comes down to raw power and an additional weapon type, versus being mounted and having higher con. Sage gives Lute access to light magic, which, as I've said before, is not the best in this game, but at least it makes her a little bit more versatile. She still won't be able to use much beyond the basic light tomes without suffering massive speed loss though. She also gains staves, but only at a D rank. I find Artur is a much better secondary staff user on promotion. Lute is okay, and her enormous magic means that even with regular heal staves, she'll probably still fully restore people. But I prefer to use her more as a secondary healer than a replacement for a primary one. It does buff up her con slightly to the point where she can finally not get weighed down by fire, but it's still not the best. Especially since there are actually a lot of good animatomes beyond just fire, and most of them will weigh her down. The main advantage that Sage has for Lute though, is it lets her really make the most out of her magic growth. She is very, very capable of hitting the cap of 30. And when she does, pretty much everything is going to die. Combine that with the fact that you get the S-ranked animatome relatively early in this game, pure carnage. Mage Knight, on the other hand, does not have light magic, but its main weakness over Sage is having much lower of a magic cap. As I said, this wouldn't be such a big deal if it weren't for the fact that Lute is very capable of going higher than 25. You don't really need more than 25 later in the game though, because enemies in Sacred Stones are not that strong, and resistance stats overall aren't that high. And Mage Knight does patch up Lute's main issue of having bad constitution by buffing it up to 8, and also, obviously being mounted means she has much higher movement. And just like Sage, she gets a D rank in Starve, so the exact same things I said about Starve for Sage apply to Mage Knight as well. While Mage Knight is probably objectively better just because you don't need that high stats in this game and the extra movement and con is great, I still personally really like making Lute a Sage because just, I can't resist the sheer power of having that enormous magic stat. Seriously, I'm gonna have a lot of fun later on. It's just hilarious how high Lute's damage output gets. So, let's see. Her getting attacked by all three of these enemies at once is... Oh, that's annoying. Got 2 resistance. I believe there's a chance that you could have 1 resistance and that would have been fine. Okay, but she can handle these 2 on her own. So, 8 damage... and 8. That's 16. Yeah, that's exactly enough to survive with 1 HP. So she's usually fine against these 2 by standing on this wood and using a vulnerary if she needs to. But don't put her in range of that guy. She's going to need a little help from Vanessa here, though. And hello there, Nino Palette Swap. Yeah, I wish they had updated the female mage sprite here, because the one they use here, which is obviously reused from the other GBA games, is very obviously meant for Nino. I'm pretty sure Lilina's sprite from FE6 was different, and this game actually uses a lot of FE6 class sprites as opposed to FE7 ones, as you'll see a bit later. Ah, not quite. Let's see. Okay, you can't cross that river. I'd probably rather have Artur fight the dark magic user over here, just to lure that guy in relative safety. So in this case, I will attack this guy with Franz. Different battle texture for a bridge, which is pretty cool. Speaking of which, there's actually another setting that lets you see backgrounds in battles as well, rather than just seeing the map in the background. I kind of like the map, but I might show off the other one. In fact, I can probably switch to it now. That's good. That's very good. So, I will do this. Options, where is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, animation 2. I'll just show this for 1 turn, then I think I'll switch it back. Okay, one of them can attack. I'm gonna go ahead and heal Franz with Molder the Boulder. I love that hit 100 there. This is not Thrakia 776. For those who don't know, healing staves can miss in that game, and it's horrible. I don't know who at Intelligence Systems thought that was a good idea. I still feel like a lot of Thrakia 776's reputation as the hardest game in the series is kinda undeserved. I've probably said this before, but I feel like FE6 is actually harder. Like, as a whole. Thrakia has several really brutal maps individually, but most of its difficulty comes from some pretty terrible fake difficulty mechanics, like healing staves missing, and status effects being permanent, unless you use status curing staves, which are in very limited supply. The woods here reduce Lute's damage, thankfully. She'll be able to finish that guy next turn, and you, I think, I didn't want you attacking from below, because then, I was talking about the Path of Radiance, Pegasus Knight there, Vanessa probably couldn't have got to you. I'm so glad Moguls aren't nearly as bad as they are in Gaiden. Like, so I played this Sacred Stones before Gaiden, obviously, so, and then I played Tearing Saga, and the Moguls in that game are based on the Gaiden Moguls, and they are horrifying. Well, I mean, they're called Opuses in that game, but anyway, they're pretty much Moguls. Yeah, they were, so irritating. Surprisingly durable due to their high speed, and they could split. Not fun to fight, especially that one chapter where, the one chapter that consisted entirely of Moguls that took me, I'm not making this up, 3.5 hours to complete that chapter when I first played. I probably should have had Lute stay there and use her vulnerary, actually, but let's just give Vanessa a little bit of action. Yeah, no, the Slim Lance is more than enough here. I'm probably going to have to compensate by letting Lute get the boss kill, because I definitely am going to be using Lute. She is one of my favourite mages in the series. Speaking of kills, I guess I can have Ross kill this guy. Like I said, I like to have Ross at level 10 before the next chapter. And he's pretty close. No speed again, but strength is fine. I might want to leave that guy for Ross, actually, because I really do want him to be getting level 7, level 6. Yeah, I think at the moment we're kind of fine on stuff. I just want Ross to be getting to level 10 here, because in most of my playthroughs, Ross is level 10 by Chapter 5. And I would like to keep it that way here. Those two can just... You know what? Just attack that snag for the heck of it. And he couldn't even one-shot it. I don't want Franz to crit that guy if I do lure him up here. I'm just going to have everyone stay where they are. The enemy clearly thought that was a good idea too. Okay, now I'm going to turn off the animation backgrounds. Stupid forward movement on Ross. That will change once I get him to level 10, but for now... Let's see... Iron Sword... You know, with their higher strength, you might actually be one-shotting that guy. He has 1 defense. You will not one-round him. If he had 0, he would have. So, I'm glad that guy has 1 defense. Of course, I could always still critical him. And speaking of which... Okay, Revenant over there. 10 attack. Okay, yeah, as long as I use the vulnerability, loot's gonna be fine. Yeah, Luke can go all the way to the bridge. And, of course, use the vulnerability. If I was planning on training Vanessa, she'd be getting a lot more attention here as well. I do use Vanessa sometimes. Just this playthrough, I'm going to be using my personal favourite Pegasus Knight. But in a lot of playthroughs, I have used Vanessa. She is very good. Okay, let's get you out of the way and then set loot up to run to the boss. So yeah, 14 times 2, that's not going to be enough. Unless Franz criticals, which would be annoying. Thank you for not criticaling, Franz! I did not tempt fate there. Just a random thing to say, but I do like the Cavalier sword animations in this game. Well, I mean, the GBA games in general. Yeah, no risk here of if she misses, she dies, because she's got a 100% hit rate. 1 burn zombie. And if you do not gain magic, I'll be very surprised. You did not gain magic. I am very surprised. At least you got speed, though. Seriously, I have had a magic screwed loot before. As much as that sounds like a physical impossibility, I have had a magic screwed loot before. That is the extent of my luck. Ah, well, your weapon rank went up. To D. It will get better, though. And now it's just the boss left, and he doesn't move, I'm pretty sure, so we can just wait for, until we're in a pretty good position to fight him. I want to get Ross up to level 10, not 20, that's being a bit premature, and then I will have Luke get the boss kill here, at least if all goes to plan. And this guy doesn't pull a Kumagera on me. Anyone who's seen my Fates playthrough will know what I'm referring to there. Ugh. Can't believe I missed every Hoshido and Nor exclusive capturable boss. Most of them were my fault, but that one was just pure bad luck. Okay. Well, time to test if he moves. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, though. He does! Okay. Right, problem solved. Yeah, the Fetid Claw does hit pretty hard, but he's not very fast. Yeah, pretty much everyone doubles him. And there's level 10. At this point, do not fight anymore with Ross. It's a complete waste of experience. Because this is the level cap for trainees. We won't be able to do something about that until the next chapter, though. See, yeah, there's a complete dash on experience there. And he only gained 1 point of speed. That's not awful, but it's not amazing either. Okay, that could potentially not work. I'm gonna put Artur there because I really like Artur and Luke's support, so I might as well grind them up a little bit. And... Dead Entombed, good. And watch the experience bar. Yeah. At this point, they're pretty much a guaranteed level up. Okay, she made up for that there. And we have the dark victory theme for this one already, even though, yeah, just to be sure. Might need more than that, though, I mean. Also, this line from Seth, right here. This line from Seth. Watch this. The weakest of them could outmatch any normal man. Yeah, I think you need to check your facts, Seth. Well, we did fight Bone Walkers, but this is a preview of the kind of enemies we'll be facing later on. Gargoyles, you'll know if you've played Gaiden, but Morth, Doogs, and Bales are new to this one. No, those things weren't actually much of a match for us. I'm sure we can face them going forward. Yeah, we have to save him. And prepare for awesomeness. It's scenes like this that make me wish this game had voice acting. And this also makes me wish, come on, please put LaRachel in Heroes. Please put her in Heroes. I need to hear her voice acted so badly. She's just so amazing. This guy would also sound pretty good voice acted as well. She kind of just did. I don't think you're really riding off in anonymity, considering that you just revealed where you were from, the fact that you're very important to that place, and your name. I think it's very easy to put two and two together after that. And of course, Rennek is still just being dragged around, and Erica has no idea what was going on. And with that, we end the chapter. So, hopefully we will be seeing those three again soon. But for now, we must continue our journey to rescue Ephraim, so I'll see you next time.